I know.
Well, Doug, I'm so excited to talk to you today on behalf of fangirlish.com. Doug, the last time that we spoke, I got to ask you about being a wonderful example of positive masculinity. Now that I've seen Mr. Saru's full arc in Discovery, I can say with confidence that Saru's encounter with Primarch Tahal of the Breen is one of the finest examples of positive masculinity I've ever seen on television. Saru doesn't raise a hand. He uses his mind and his words for a show of strength.
Mhm.
What kind of impact do you hope to see uh, from this kind of representation?
Oh, thank you for noticing such things, by the way. That's very, very sweet of you. Yeah, Saru's been on quite a journey. Being a fearful, lowly Kelpian when you first meet him in the beginning of our series, all the way to that moment in the last episode when he does have that showdown with Primarch Tahal. Thank you for I was intimidated playing that scene, by the way, because I thought
Hmm.
Saru has a strength that I don't know that Doug Jones has. So I really want to channel Saru through me right now.
Yeah.
Um, he had a strength and a resolve that 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 was I think his underlying current though was diplomacy. Really,
Mm.
he wanted to get through this peacefully without battle and war and without a hand raise. You're right. The way I like how you put that. Uh, so words, strong words, and and planting your feet in a righteous place where you know you're right,
Mhm.
and speaking that was what Saru had to do in that moment, and he got the result that he needed, and and that was so I hope the takeaway um, for Saru, and another moment for Saru with this masculinity thing when he instead of I come from a gentlemanly background myself, where I proposed to my own Mrs. Laurie marriage when we got engaged many years ago, and but when Saru and Tarina's relationship was growing to a point where we were deciding that we wanted to be around each other a lot more now, Tarina took the lead on that proposal, and Saru responded in such a gracious way to that. Instead of being like, "Hey, that's the man's job," it was like it was okay for him to be like, "Tarina, are you asking me to marry you?" And sure enough, she was, in a very Vulcan, deadpan kind of way. That was really lovely. They shared. She's very feminine. He's very masculine in their own ways, and but they respect each other for those qualities instead of being intimidated by them.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Doug, what do you take away from your time on Discovery that you hope to apply to future projects?
Oh gosh, the confidence that Saru has, and working him from fear to confidence and courage. That's something, a journey that Doug Jones has been on with Saru. I walk into the room usually with imposter syndrome. I don't belong here. Everyone else here is better than me. I need. Hopefully they don't find out that I can't act or whatever it is, right? So I think into my what I take from this, and also, I have a huge intimidation from blocks of dialogue. When I see a monologue in a script, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna fail. I can't memorize that. Now, Star Trek dialogue with science fiction terminology thrown in and all kinds of ideologies thrown in, that's hard to connect with emotionally. If you can memorize that and put it out of yourself as though you know what you're talking about, if you can pull that off, you can do anything as an actor. So I feel that I've grown with my own confidence because of material like that.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Doug, what are you most proud of as your work from as Mr. Saru?
Oh, I'm proud that of the journey that the fans have gone on with us, and what impact we've left with them. And I find this out when I'm on the convention circuit. I'm meeting fans face to face, one on one, and I hear their story. Uh, People will tell me I was in the hospital recuperating, and your show brought me out of it. And I got fired from a job, and I was, trying to redefine myself professionally, and Saru's journey helped give me courage to do the same. And or I used to watch your show with my father. He's gone now. When I see you on film, it reminds me that he's still with me. All kinds of stories that I hear, that I'm proud of the emotional takeaway and being a part of people's lives and families. That's the part when you're doing this on film. Um, you're not sure the impact it's going to have. So getting the feedback from fans that have watched and consumed our product, and it's become a part of their lives and their families, that's the satisfying part for me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Doug, I have time for one last question. So, if you were to appear in a Star Trek show or film again, what kind of character would you like to play?
Ah, well, since my face is already shown. I forgot I went into a hologram program and I became Saru as a human. So, but if I could come back into the Star Trek universe as a Vulcan, I would love that. Spock was my first actual love in the Star
Mm.
Trek world as someone I could relate to. He was the tall, goofy-looking fellow on the bridge that didn't look like everybody else, and I'm like, that's how I felt going to school every day at that time. So I would Vulcan would be a lovely thing to tackle.
I will start the campaign now.
Okay, it's a deal. Yeah.
Doug, thank you so much for your time today. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you, Ashley. You're delightful to talk with.
You are as well.